Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at some very useful expressions that you can use when answering the phone. Let's get into it. So lots of my students mention how much they hate making phone calls in English. It's often something that makes them very nervous. In today's lesson, we're going to teach you some useful phrases that will hopefully make you more comfortable when answering the phone in English. So most phone conversations will start with a greeting. If you are the person that is answering the phone, you start the conversation by offering the greeting. You say, "Hello." Now there are two main ways to answer the phone: a formal way and an informal way. So for example, if it is your personal phone, most people would simply answer it with an informal hello. You'll notice that the word hello is actually being used as a question. I am asking the other person to introduce themselves. Now, if you were greeting your friend in the street, you'd say hello. But on the phone, perhaps you don't recognize the number of the person that's calling you. So you're changing the intonation to make that greeting sound more like a question. So you're saying, hello. It's a very slight difference, but it is there. So that is an informal greeting. Of course, if it is a friend calling and you recognize their number, then you can answer the phone in a very informal manner. So you can say, "Hey, how are you doing? Hey, how are you doing?" Very informal, very friendly. But what about in a business setting? How can we answer the phone in a formal manner? Well, you can say, "Hello, David speaking. How may I help you?" So in this sentence, you are greeting the person, you're introducing yourself, and you are offering assistance. You can see that is a much more professional and courteous way to answer the phone. "Hello, David speaking. How may I help you?" Now, sometimes you might want to go even further and say what company or department you work in. So then you could say, "Hello, this is the customer service team for Microsoft. David speaking. How may I help you?" Let's go over that again. "Hello, this is the customer service team for Microsoft. David speaking. How may I help you?" So that sentence is certainly a little bit longer, but you have clearly identified yourself and your company. So this is often a very good way to introduce yourself when answering the phone at work. Now, the problem with a phone call is that you don't always know what the other person will say. So it can be quite difficult to prepare. But what you can do is prepare your responses for the most common questions. So for example, many people will ask to speak to a particular person. So they might call you up and ask to speak to your colleague. In this case, we'll call him John. To do this, they might say, "Is John there, please?" You can see this is quite an informal question. Or they might say, "This is Mr. Smith. I'm calling for John." This is a formal phrase. And another formal one, "May I please speak to John?" You'll notice a good use there of modal verbs. The word may is a modal verb that makes that whole sentence seem quite polite. So, "May I speak to John?" But how can you respond to those questions? Let's look at some examples. "Hello. Hello, may I speak to David, please?" "Speaking. How can I help you?" So there we saw that they asked to speak to me. So you can say, "This is David speaking. How can I help?" Or as we did in that conversation, we shortened it. I simply said, Speaking, how can I help? Okay, so let's try another phone call. This time they're going to ask for one of my colleagues. Let's see what the response should be. Hello, David speaking. How can I help? Hello, could I speak to John Smith? Certainly. Who can I say is calling? It's Mark from accounting. Okay, I'll just transfer you now. So when someone asked to speak to my colleague, I asked them a question. You remember what it was? I asked, who can I say is calling? Now that is a great sentence to memorize. I use it on the phone a lot in my company. Who can I say is calling? So I wanted to know the name of the person on the phone. They then told me their name and I said that I would transfer them. I'll transfer your call now. To transfer someone means to move the call from one person to another. I would transfer the call. So those are two of the most common starting points of phone calls. You have greeted the person, you've introduced yourself, and you've transferred the call if necessary. If you practice these common sentences a few times, you'll find that you will be much more comfortable when answering the phone in English. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'll see you in the next one.